somebody asked me, might have been used to, that said, why do you think they're putting up such a stink about releasing the files? Mm-hmm. I can guarantee you that Donald Trump's name is in the Epstein Files.
We said that at the very beginning.
Years ago.
Even more recently when Elon came out with his tweet. We all said,
no crap.
Of course he's in the files. He was friends with this guy for a long time.
But
before people knew.
Right. And he broke up with him, if you will.
Before his initial arrest.
Right, before the initial arrest. And he broke up with him because he's like, hey, you treat women like crap. Okay, so, yeah, he is in the file. I could almost guarantee it. So why wouldn't you want that out? For the same reason he's saying, there's a lot of people in here whose names are going to be involved who may not have done anything. That's not just protecting him. You know what that is? That's a comment on us. Because here's my stance on this. The whole thing should be released. Every bit of it should be released. However, there is a competing argument in my own mind that says, not responsible enough for that. What do I mean by that? This system of our government is wholly inadequate for an immoral and non-religious society. And I don't mean, our society's got to go to church. I mean, you have to have the underpinnings of things like the 10 Commandments. Don't lie. Don't cheat. Don't steal. Don't smear your neighbor. We don't do any of those things, okay? We can't even do 10 simple laws, okay? And they're all good safety tips. I don't know if I renamed all of these things, if I didn't use the religious context, every American would say, yeah, well, that's a good thing. Hey, you shouldn't worship your car. Yeah, that's a good thing. You shouldn't look at the image of somebody and go, that's who I serve. That's my God. No, bad thing. Don't cheat on your spouse. Don't lie. Honor your mom and dad. All of these things, we'd all agree. We can't do that as a society. We can't even agree on 8 of the 10. So how are you going to remain free? Let me bring this back to the Epstein file. All of this information should be public. It should be out. There should be no secrets unless it is in our national interest. And I don't mean, well, it could go badly for the CIA. Good. Let it go badly for the CIA. If they did something wrong or they were doing something nefarious or they were doing something that the American people just wouldn't like, I want that exposed. Okay? But are we responsible enough to have all of the information? I contend no. That doesn't make me say, I'm still saying release it all. But I'm telling you, the consequences will be ugly.
It's going to be a mess.
A mess.
That's okay, probably, because we're talking about if there's information in there that the American people need.
I think we are approaching a place to where it's not just a mess. And here's why I say that.
What do you mean? So
you get all this information. How is this information going to be used? Of course, Donald Trump's name is in there. Is Donald Trump, was he messing around with young girls? No, wasn't.
Is there even an there's a lot of things they've accused Donald Trump of. Is there even an accusation that he was interested in underage girls?
No, and all they're saying is he's in the file. Well, there's going to be a lot of people in the file, okay? A lot of people in the file. And some of them might be guilty. Some of them, you worry because I want to know their names, but I want to hear, why were you with him? Oh, it's before you knew. Oh, it was this or that. You were getting money as a scientist for your thing from him. Okay. But it wasn't about underage girls. As a society, we will not read the Epstein report. We won't.
No, of course not.
Right? We won't read it. It doesn't matter if it's 10 pages. The vast majority will not read it. What they will do is they will go to Twitter and X and they will look for what name's in there. And somebody will say, Donald Trump, and you know what this means? He was diddling with little girls. And that will just become their opinion, not based on fact, not based on anything, except somebody who has ill will on anyone or is just as stupid as the rest of the public. Yesterday, last week, this file came out from Tulsi Gabbard. And what do you say this is? 150 pages? Maybe? 100 pages?
Yeah.
Okay. My staff read it. We read it. You know why? Because you weren't going to read it. And my job is to make it easier for you to understand what's going on. My job really is not to tell you what is going on. My job is actually to try to give you perspective on why it's happening and what it means. But because nobody, and I'm not dissing you, this is a very smart, well-read audience. In many cases, more well-read on some things than we are. But generally speaking, the American people don't read. They don't read these reports. This one came out yesterday. What is this? 20 pages, maybe? And this thing is unbelievable because there were only 5 copies of it. This was categorized the highest level of top secret outside of a nuclear weapon in our codes. Okay? This was in the most top. This was like the knock list at the CIA. 5 copies, all in one safe where the most confidential CIA stuff is kept. And it was released yesterday, and it's not 30 years old. It's 4. Did you read it? Did anyone actually? I contend very few reporters, very few talking heads on cable TV even read these.
Yeah, and by the way, it's not an unreasonable expectation for a population to have a media that is going to inform them properly about very lengthy government documents.
Correct. But once you have seen that media is not reliable, and everybody knows that now, you may not find me reliable, but the person who doesn't find me reliable also probably doesn't find CNN reliable. They might go, well, they're a little better than he is. But they don't trust anybody, and they shouldn't. At this point, you shouldn't trust anybody, which means you have to know it for yourself. So when you're looking at the Epstein files, you're looking at these files. These files, everyone should care about because it's not new. Some of it is, but very little of it is new. It's just authentication that what has been said all these years by people like me is accurate. And you wouldn't have fought about its accuracy if it didn't matter. But you fought over the accuracy. He don't know what he's talking about. That's a conspiracy theory. He's got to be shut down. Get him off of Facebook. Take him off of Twitter. He can't say these things. Why would you say that if it didn't matter? Now you not only know that those things are true, but you now see a pattern of behavior. It's like looking at one murder and then another murder and then another murder. Okay, we got 3 murderers on the loose now. And then all of a sudden you realize, wait a minute, not only did those murders happen, it was the same guy. Now you have a serial killer. Is a serial killer more a higher priority than just one murderer? Yeah, it is, because they are killing people, I don't know, out of the love of it, out of their distorted, it's not a crime of passion. It becomes something really, really sick. This is a serial killer. You now have not just one-offs. You see, this is a pattern. This group has been doing this from the beginning. You know, he said, if they can get away with this, they're going to keep doing it. This shows they got away with it for so long. By 2016, it's just they don't care anymore. They don't care anymore. But how many people are reading this? What they'll do is they'll listen to people like me or people like CNN, and they'll say, oh, well, I heard Jake Tapper talk about it. It means nothing. Well, now Jake Tapper might not think it's. Let me give you a better example. I really like Andy McCarthy. I really like him.
Mm-hmm.
I've read his work. I believe
it's great.
I believe his opinion is valid. I don't think it's right, but I think it's valid. And I read his work and I thought, okay, wait a minute. If Andy McCarthy is saying this, I really need to examine what he's saying and see where I disagree with him. And as I went in, I was prepared to change my mind if I thought Andy was right. Now, he might, in the end, be right, but I don't think so. Because what he's saying is, a lot of this stuff is old news. Yes, Andy, it is. But it's now a grand conspiracy. You have to look at the through line. You're not looking at the one-off events. You're looking at two things. One, it's now been verified at the highest sources in writing. You have whistleblowers at the time writing saying, we can't do this. We didn't have that information. You have on record now Brennan saying, you don't know what I know. Well, what did you know? We have new information. What new information? Because none of it is quoted anywhere. And he's never answered the question, what new information? Most importantly, you have the grand conspiracy line. We're not going to save the country unless we do our own homework, then listen to people and say, let me start at the opposite ends. Let me start with Glenn Beck and CNN. And let me see what both of them are saying. Okay, I think they both agree on this one thing, so I know that's true, but I think Glenn's more right or CNN's more right on this. And then you just keep narrowing it in, and all it does is not form your opinion. It helps verify for you what you think is right, or it changes your opinion because you realize, I missed that. I didn't understand that. So when we're looking at all of this stuff needs to be transparent. We need to know all of the information. Yes, we do. But we also are played every single day by many times the exact same actors who do not have a good bone in their body. They're trying to destroy us. They're trying to separate us and divide us. And they have proven themselves to lie at any level without thinking about you or the ramifications. And we continue to listen to them over and over and over again.